Wonderful. So, welcome to week 4. I can't believe that we're like a third of the way through with this. Um, Time's going so fast. What did you guys think of the module from this week? Did you get a chance to look over it at all?
The nutrients one.
Oh,
No? So you guys haven't
Yeah.
looked at it quite yet?
Yeah,
And we'll
no.
go over it tonight. I was just curious. So no,
Is that the
so
one?
last week, did everybody figure out their macronutrients, kind of their personalized goals?
Well,
Yeah.
yes. I figured out how. In fact, as I spent like an hour and a half or 2 hours this morning just working on figuring out the calorie intake
Yeah.
and and the weight and the number of calories and everything. And it's really kind of interesting, when you start going into it and looking and seeing and what percentages you have to do and everything like that. So
Yeah.
I set I've got it all figured out. Now I just have to figure out how to apply it.
Yeah, and it's all very much estimations, so like when we're estimating, that's why we're kind of giving you some different ranges. And some people do better by, consuming less carbohydrates, and other people do better by consuming higher amounts of protein. So each person is very different, but one thing we do know is that I just want to check to see if somebody wasn't looking to get on with us. What's important is just that you're consuming a macro balance that kind of keeps you full and satisfies and helps you to kind of have that long lasting energy, right? So that's what's most important. So I kind of want to take what we all figured out last week and then kind of take that and to start thinking about how can I break that up into my day, right? So so today just talking about ways to curb your cravings, and it doesn't mean that we're going to take away your desire to have sweets or salties or snacks and stuff, but one thing we do know is that when people are not consuming enough or not consuming the right macronutrient mix, sometimes they'll find that they're hungry or they're craving things and they're having a hard time saying no to those things. And so it's amazing how when you do, when you're consuming meals and you're actually thinking about, okay, I need to get plenty of protein, or I need to get a certain amount of protein, and then I'm going to have a nice complex carbohydrate, loads of fiber, lots of vegetables. It's amazing how you can come out of that meal and actually not be searching for that sweet or that treat or what's the next thing I'm going to be eating, because you're actually feeling full and satisfied. So that's kind of our goal here. And so we wanted to chat a little bit about kind of what are the components of meals that we want to make sure to incorporate into each meal and snack. Not every single one. It doesn't mean you can't have just a single apple for a snack, or that's just going to ruin your whole day, but just talking about how everything kind of revolves around blood sugar regulation. So I'm going to share my screen here, and we're going to take a look at this week's module and chat a little bit. First of all, I just want to ask, do you guys notice that you have certain specific cravings, or you struggle with certain cravings at certain times of the day? Would you guys say like, oh, I got a sweet tooth, or I like chips or crackers or salty things?
Yeah, yes. I find that out, like, for example, today.
Okay.
I went today and, this morning I did the yogurt with the granola, and then, I had some, so I had that, and I looked and I said, okay, now I have to have some protein for lunch before I go to play pickleball. Well, I went and played pickleball, and before I went, and I had like protein. So then I just had like shredded beef and a piece of a chicken breast, and I had that. But I went and played pickleball, and I played pickleball for 2 hours. I come home every time I play pickleball, and then I come home and I went, oh, I'm really hungry here. So I talked to Rachel and said, okay, I'm going to eat some cottage cheese. So I ate cottage cheese. But then about half an hour later, I'm going, oh, those chips in there would look really good.
Okay, so now let's just go back a second. So you ate a ton of protein and you went and played pickleball and you burned, 2 hours of pickleball, you probably burned a few calories.
Okay.
What were you missing in your lunch, do you think, that would have helped a little bit with your energy? Would have helped to replenish your glycogen stores after your workout? What were you missing, do you think, if you were just eating a load of carbs?
What, after my workout? What
Yeah,
is
and before
isn't it
too.
cottage? What is cottage?
I think she just gave you the answer.
What did she say? What did you
He
say?
said, I think she just
She
gave
said you ate a load of carbs, but you ate a load of protein.
a load of
Didn't
protein.
have any
Sorry.
carbs.
Yeah, you're
Oh,
right. So you
okay.
might have been missing some carbohydrates. So fueling around exercise, which is actually going to be one of our modules down the road here, but thinking about what are some, getting some carbohydrate before that workout that your body can actually use for energy during the workout. And then after your workout, you want to have some carbohydrates to actually replenish those stores that you depleted from working out. Does that make sense?
Yes, but what would I eat?
Well, let me see. So depending on the time of day, with your protein, you could have incorporated in a little sweet potato or a potato, or maybe some brown rice, or maybe some quinoa. Depending on, you wouldn't want to eat a load of that and then immediately go play pickleball. But if you have an hour and a half or something, you can have a decent meal and be at the point where you've digested enough that you could actually use some of that and actually not hit that wall when you're exercising,
Okay.
right? And then
Okay.
afterwards, something similar. It doesn't mean that you have to consume sugar or immediate carbohydrates to play pickleball. It just means that, having some form of carbohydrate to kind of make sure you have some good stores and you're not going to be playing pickleball and hit the wall because you're just gassed and tired. And then afterwards, you kind of replenish those glycogen stores so that the next time you work out, you have those there and they're ready for some quick energy.
Okay.
That
Makes
makes
sense.
sense? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And so, when you eat that meat, that's pretty much 100% protein, but that cottage cheese, you're getting a little protein as well as some carbohydrate. So that's actually a good thing for even for after your workout.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yep.
So cravings they can be about, like sometimes people will say, oh, I just ate a meal. Oh, I need something sweet. They automatically, and sometimes that can be habitual. Sometimes it's just a matter of every time after lunch, you're always needing to have a sweet treat or something like that. So your body gets kind of used to that habit. But it can also mean that sometimes you haven't consumed enough in that meal, right? So a lot of times my clients will be like, I ate perfect all day long, or maybe I skipped meals, breakfast and lunch, but then I couldn't stop eating once I did start eating. Or dinner turned into dinner plus a snack plus a treat plus an all evening type eating. So sometimes that we can look back and see that during the day you really didn't get enough. And so that's kind of why you're trying to make up for it in the evening. So sometimes we can see that. Sometimes they're not as cut and dry, and you're like, oh, you ate really well today. Then why are you really struggling at nighttime? So anyway, so let's chat a little bit about kind of what are some key components to make sure that you are having in each meal. And a lot of them you talked about last week, but we're going to kind of dive into a little bit more specifics. So first of all, we're going to talk about blood sugar regulation. And you might say, well, I'm not diabetic. Why do I care about what my blood sugars are doing? Because it's very natural when we eat some food or we eat a meal, our blood sugar is going to increase. Our body will send insulin to bring those blood sugar down. Just natural. That is just a natural process. But things that affect our blood sugar, carbohydrates, are what are going to cause more of a spike than, say, protein or fat or fiber. Okay. So specifically when we're consuming meals that are simply carbohydrates alone, it can cause a significant spike. So say you had a candy bar, you know, you ever eat a Snickers bar and then go, oh my gosh, I have energy, I feel great. And you can go, go, go. And then all of a sudden you crash. What happens there is you had that nice blood sugar spike. And then once it dropped and your body pulled that sugar into the cells and you no longer had it kind of readily available, that's when you crashed. And that's when you kind of got tired. And what are you typically doing? You're searching then for that next pick me up, because you're like, oh, I'm tired again. I need some sugar, some caffeine, or maybe I need to eat some more food. So that's why for everyone, it's important to try to think about promoting kind of a nice steady increase of blood sugar that's actually longer lasting. And that what that means is it's longer lasting energy. And the way we can promote those blood sugars, those better kind of slower increasing and decreasing blood sugars, a nice rounded kind of curve, is that we incorporate in foods, we have mixed meals. So we know that carbohydrates affect blood sugars. So when we consume carbs, we always need to incorporate in some good proteins and some good fiber and some good fats. And then in that mixed meal, as they're all digesting together, we don't get that spike. We just get a nice kind of little up and down and longer lasting energy with that. So let's dive in specifically to each of these components. So first of all, starting with protein. Protein is huge, so important. So last week, do you guys remember what your protein goals were? How much you trying to get in a day?
I wrote mine down. It's
probably 100, 110, 120.
135.
Okay, there we go. And that
That's
was, do you
mine.
remember what percentage that was? Was that 20% or 25%?
Yep, I've got it written down and I'm gonna go get it.
Sorry to put you on the spot, Mike.
No, I wrote, but that's why I was interested in, how this all kind of fits together.
Yeah. Charlie, do you remember what yours was?
Mine's on a notepad next to the piano. I don't remember what it was,
Okay.
but I have them all calculated out.
So
Yep.
let's say, yeah, yours is probably similar to Mike's, maybe even a little bit more. So it's going to be,
Yeah.
20 to 25% of your total calories. So if your calories that you're shooting for, depending on what your goals are, if you're looking for weight loss, your calories are going to be a little lower. If you're looking for maintenance, it's going to be about the same, but it's going to be about 20 to 25% of that total caloric intake.
Okay, yeah,
So-
mine was like protein was 135, 21%. The carbs were 56% and fat was 22%.
Oh, so did you figure out your fat to be 22%? Or was that like
Yes.
what you actually consumed in a day?
No, that's what I should be. That would be my goal.
Okay, that fat's a little bit low.
That's what Rachel told me.
Usually you're going to want about 30% of fat, because when we cut that fat too much, that's when you might find that you're hungry, because you don't have anything that's really kind of helping
Yep.
to slow things down and helping to fill you up.
You sound
So-
exactly like your partner, because that's
yeah,
exactly
we
when
kind of.
I read this to her this afternoon, saying I figured this all out, and she says, your fat's a little low.
Yep. So fat, usually we want that about 30%. Sometimes people might be like 35, kind of just depending on the person and their specific diet. So if we take that, 135 grams of protein a day, how many meals do you usually have a day? Do you have 3 meals a day?
Yes.
Yeah. And how many snacks do you usually have a day? A couple snacks?
Yep, 2 or 3.
Okay, so that means you're probably going to need to be shooting for about, 30, 60, 90. You're probably going to be wanting to shoot for at least 30 grams of protein in each meal, right? So that would give us 90 grams. And then that means you would have maybe 15 grams of protein in 3 different snacks during the day. Does that make sense? So see, when you
Yep.
kind of take it that way, it's like you're moving from, oh, I need 135 grams, and then you have your meals, and then by the end of the day, you start figuring out what you ate, and you're like, I've only gotten in about 60 grams of protein, and now what are you going to eat, at 8 o'clock at night to get 75 grams of protein in? So if you can kind of break things down in your meals and give you an idea of how can I get there? How can I get
Right.
that protein in?
Right. That's why, like today, like this morning, I had the yogurt with granola, and I looked and I said, okay, with the yogurt and granola, I had like 56 carbs. Then I had 13 fat, but I only had 11 protein. So that's why I was eating before I played pickleball. That's why I was eating
All that meat.
the meats.
So the way you can look at it is if you're shooting for maybe 30 grams of protein per meal, we know that in an ounce of meat or in one egg, a cup of cow milk or soy milk, and you can kind of see these other things here, beans and legumes, cottage cheese, peanut butter, nut butters, an ounce of seeds. Those are all going to be one serving of protein, or about 7 grams of protein. So basically for you, if you had 4 ounces of meat, that would give you it would give you 28 grams of protein per meal. Okay. So kind of thinking of it that way, and then, and then trying to get probably 2 ounces in your snacks. So it just kind of makes you think when you're kind of pulling out and reading labels stuff, how can I get there? How can I get to my protein goal? And I don't think it's hard for an adult who eats kind of all foods, but then when you're somebody, I have a lot of clients who are vegetarians or vegans, then it can get a little more tricky because you cut out all those animal products, and it kind of limits you. And we do know that those plant-based proteins like nuts and seeds and beans and legumes, they're going to give you carbohydrates as well as protein. They're not quite as cut and dry as, say, like an ounce of meat. So anyway, so that kind of helps you think about how can I get to my protein goal? We know that protein does a couple things. It helps us to feel fuller, right? It helps to promote that slower digestion and kind of longer term energy, which can help to, help us with our cravings, help us to feel more satisfied and full and not searching for more food. And it also helps us with the blood sugar, promoting that kind of nice, slow and steady up and down, that small hill. So the next component I want to talk about is the complex carbohydrates. So basically 3 different kinds of carbs. They're going to be your simple carbs, which are going to be, I'll just go right down to my table here, are going to be more of like the fruits. Yes, they're a simple carbohydrate because they're 100% carbs, but they do have fiber in them, especially if you're eating that whole piece of food. Your dairy products are going to be simple carbohydrates, and this all is based off of what kind of sugar does it have in them, right? So simple carbs are just simple short chain. They're going to digest faster. They usually have 1 or 2 sugar molecules in them. The complex carbohydrates are kind of that next step. They're longer chains of those same sugar molecules, but it's slower to digest because your body has to break that down, right? And typically those complex carbohydrates contain one thing that simple carbohydrates and refined grains may not have as much of, and that's the fiber. Because that fiber, which we're going to talk about next, but also slows that digestion. So, but ultimately, all of these carbohydrates are broken into that basic component of glucose. And once your body can digest that a lot faster because it actually starts that digestion in the stomach, and can cause that blood sugar spike a lot quicker. So the simples are going to digest a little faster, though, than the complex carbs. And then what are refined? We throw this word around so much, but the refined grains are basically those complex carbohydrates that we've stripped and processed and taken away all of the fiber and the fat from. So we've made them so they're almost like a simple carb in that they're very quick and easy to digest. And those refined grains are going to be more of those processed foods the packaged, you know, the enriched like white flours and stuff that they make a lot of the breads with and some of the pastas. But they're typically basically those complex carbs that have been stripped of the fiber. So here you can see in this table kind of what are some examples of each of these different carbohydrates. It
Is
does not.
one better than the other, or should you have a even mix of them, or what?
Nope.
The
So
simple
so
versus complex.
we want to choose more of the complex carbs
I'm taking
compared
notes.
to the what?
I'm taking notes, you see here.
Yes. The complex carbohydrates are definitely going to be, we're going to want to consume more of those. Now, does that mean fruits aren't, you shouldn't consume fruits? Absolutely not. Consuming fruits in that the whole form where you have the skins and the peels and the fiber with them, that doesn't include juices. Juices are going to be quick and easy to digest, and they're going to cause that blood sugar spike. And dairy products are also just fine. But I want you to consume these carbohydrates, any one of them, with protein, with vegetables. Okay, and that's just going to slow down the blood sugar spike. But yes, we want to choose more foods from that complex column because they are higher in fiber. They are more satisfying. They're going to fill us up and make us feel more full, as compared to, say, like, you know, the crackers and the cereal and the pasta and white rice. Unfortunately, those are things that we can eat larger quantities of it and not feel full with it. And we just burn through them quicker. So then that just comes, that next piece is the fiber. And the fiber is not something separate that we're going to consume on top of that, but we're going to get the fiber in those plant foods. Sorry, we're not going to get it in the animal foods. We're going to get in those plant foods. And the more fiber in the whole kind of unprocessed, real fruits, vegetables, beans, legumes, nuts and seeds, and then those whole grains. So basically the nice thing about fiber is we can't digest it. It kind of, I tell people, it kind of comes out the same way it went in. So what does that do? That helps to bulk up the food, that, you know, kind of what's in your system. That's why it helps to move things through a little faster. It can actually kind of grab toxins and help you to get rid of them out of your body. It fills you up. It makes you feel full without the calories. So that's why it's so important to, you know, as much as you can consume fiber, the better. And there's two kinds of fiber. It's going to be your soluble. Just all that means is that it dissolves in water. So things that contain the soluble fiber, and some of them will have both. So you might see some on both lists, but are going to be things like lentils, apples, blueberries, nuts, beans, and oatmeal. So it helps to lower cholesterol. So that's why a lot of people were like, oats, Cheerios. Cheerios are cholesterol lowering. And I think that's probably the worst thing you could consume to lower your cholesterol, because it's a cereal, it's highly processed, and you digest it so quickly. Now, if you had oats in the form of oatmeal, then that's fantastic. Okay. And then the insoluble fiber is just that one that basically it does not dissolve in water, and it's what's going to kind of increase regularity, kind of prevent constipation. This and everything. So now, on average, an adult should be consuming more than 25 grams of fiber a day. And I just put kind of some different, you know, how much fiber is in, kind of just an estimation of fiber in a lot of different foods and vegetables, but you're going to see it's all in those plant foods. Okay. And a lot of them also say, like beans and legumes, they contain complex carbs, they contain protein, and they contain fiber. So they contain all three of those things that we're trying to search for. So they're a great thing to throw onto salads and add more protein for, right? And then lastly, because I don't want to go over on time, I want to talk about those high quality fats. And so Mike, we talked a little bit about, you know, sometimes, remember when low fat diets were all the rage and people were consuming like no fat, but yet then they load up on sugar and carbohydrates because we didn't think that those were bad. It was like fat was the enemy. And the problem is we were constantly hungry. We had never had anything to kind of fill us up and make us feel full and satisfied. But does that mean you should load up and start eating sticks of butter? No. Yes. Charlie said yes. No. Oh no. Yes. Okay. Um, yeah. So yeah, that's going to fill you up. Unfortunately, though, fat is very calorically dense. So 1 gram of fat has 9 calories. 1 gram of protein has 4 calories. So fat is something we want to make sure we incorporate it in, but we want to choose highest quality as we can. So one problem with a lot of processed foods is they put kind of cheap, crappy oils in them that can cause increased inflammation in the body. So when you are choosing fats, trying to choose plant-based fats as much as possible, but more the less processed and the closer to natural, the better. So the best fats to choose are going to be things like avocados are great fat, extra virgin olive oil, walnuts. Obviously, nuts are going to have good fats in them. Seeds are going to have good fats of them. Fatty fish, amazing. Great source of fat, those omega-3s that are good for our heart health. But it's and trying to shoot for that 30% of your total calories coming from fat. But also understanding that like meats and animal products are going to already have some fat in them as well. So it's not like we have to eat 100% of our fat from these things each day. But yeah, so and then kind of lastly, just looking now, putting it all together and looking at those plates. And I think, I don't know about you, Mike, but when you were young, did your mom make you clean your plate?
Pretty much.
Like the clean plate club, it didn't matter how hungry or how stuffed you were, you had to finish your plate. And usually
Right.
our plates looked very differently. I don't know, was your plate kind of full of meat and potatoes?
Yep.
Yep. And then you might have a
Well,
few little,
we
huh?
had vegetables though too because we grew a vegetable garden, so we always had
Fantastic.
vegetables.
Okay. I just remember eating a lot of peas and corn, which are which are
Right.
all so starchy, right? They're not even
Right.
truly like vegetables. So, but this all just comes down to kind of, I think we need to change the way we look at our plates. So starting with, a corner, thinking about where's my protein coming from? Okay, whether that be meat or dairy products or eggs or fish or beans and legumes or nuts and seeds, we want to have some good quality protein on that plate. We can put in another corner our complex carbohydrates. So that would be, like I said, maybe it's sweet potato, maybe it's quinoa, maybe it's brown rice, maybe it's farro. Think about some other different grains that are less processed, less refined, that give you some good fiber, but portion control is the key with those. So if you're going to have pasta, stay away from the Olive Garden size plate of pasta. If you can stick with a half cup, at the most 1 cup per meal, and choose something that has some good fiber in it, that's just an easy way to kind of watch your portion sizes, limit that blood sugar spike and fall, and kind of cut back a little bit on total calories. And lastly, I want you to load up with vegetables. Always have at least 1, if not 2 vegetables on your plate. It's going to help to fill you up and give you lots of fiber, loads of antioxidants, and so good for you. What do you guys think of that? Makes sense? Nothing new?
Sounds
I think
delicious.
yeah, exactly. It makes sense to figure out what to putting it all together, because I never really kind of put it all together.
Yeah. Well, sometimes we kind of throw those goals out there and say, oh, okay, I want to eat, like I said, 135 grams of protein, but never actually walk through the steps of how am I going to get there? How am I going to break this up so that I am meeting those macro goals? So for this week, your homework and your action steps is to actually think about how your plate looks. Are you getting enough protein? Are you getting enough vegetables at the end of the day? Think about kind of your fiber. Are you getting to that 25 grams a day?
Mm-hmm.
And we want you to take a picture of one of your most beautiful meals and post it on the Facebook page, or share it with everyone somewhere else if you want to.
I'll send it to you.
Yep. Sounds like a good idea.
There it is. And then next week, we're going to be talking about what is in the food you're eating and label reading. So actually looking at those ingredients and those labels and thinking about, what are some things that we want to stay away from? What are some things that we want to look for when we're doing label reading? Does that sound
Okay.
good?
Sounds good.
Awesome. And Mike, you're going to head off to swimming. Charlie, you're going to stay and
Yep.
work out. You don't have to. You look like you're having a busy evening with work.
Kind of having a busy evening, and I was up most of last night, so I might do the rest of the work I have tonight, and do it tomorrow night when I have less on my plate. Ready to leave.
No worries. Well, I am going to tape the workout here next, and anybody who wants to watch the replay, I will send it out tomorrow morning.
Okay, that sounds great. Hey, I have one quick question for you.
You bet.
So I go play pickleball.
Okay.
I play for 2 hours.
Okay.
So 1 hour into the pickleball, and I'm sitting down and I'm going to have myself a snack.
Okay.
Is it better for me to have a protein bar, a Costco protein bar, a tangerine, or a banana?
Mike, I would probably have something that's kind of quicker energy. So I think that point, the banana probably would be good.
Okay.
You don't want something that's going to be sitting in your stomach, and we know that protein and like the nuts and stuff, that's going to take longer to digest. So you don't want it just kind of sitting there in your stomach, and you're truly not going to be able to use that in your workout because it takes too long to digest it. So I'd say have the banana, and then after your workout, I want you to get in some good protein and some carbs.
Sounds like a plan.
After your workout, you have some cottage cheese with some fruit in it. Maybe. Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. We'll have fun at swimming.
Thanyou. Thank you.
Okay. Talk to you later.
Okay. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Good talking to you, Charlie.
You too, Mike. Good night.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye,
Bye, Kim.
Bye, hon. Oh, nope. I'm not leaving the meeting, so I am staying on. All righty. Now it is time to get a workout in. We are doing week 2 and 4 lower body today, or tonight, I should say. And let's get started. So we are going to start with our activations, which we're going to start with first with a side lying hip abduction. I'm going to adjust my camera here so that we can see a little better. And I better plug in to make sure I don't juice. There we go. Perfect. All right, so I'm going to stand back here so everybody can see me and not cut my head off. All right, so we are going to start with the side lying hip abduction. So what that is we're going to lay on our side. All right, we are going to point our toe somewhat downward, and we are going to go up and down. Hip abduction, meaning we are working this outside of our leg. And there's 4, we're going to do 16. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Now let's switch over to the other side. I'm going to turn on some music. And all right, now we are moving to the other side. So point that toe downward, up, down. 4, should be feeling it right on the outside of your butt and your hip. 7, 8, Make sure you keep breathing. All right. Now we're going to go into a bear plank, and we are going to do a timed. So I'm going to turn on my timer. We're going to do this for 30 seconds. So the bear plank is where we are going to be on our hands and knees. And all we're doing is we're pulling our knees up and we're holding. Okay? So let's start 30 seconds. Making sure to keep that core nice and tight. You don't have to, we're not doing a full plank. We're just raising those knees slightly off the ground. Keep breathing. Make sure to keep that head in neutral position. Keep that back nice and straight. And that is 30. All righty. Okay, we're going to go back and do another set of the side lying hip abductions. So go on our side. You'll notice you can't go quite as far when you have your toe pointed forward versus when you open it up, if you're opening your leg. Okay, so make sure we're not opening that hip. Sorry, I lost count, so we're going to say that that's 16. All right, flip to the other side. Six. 12. And 16. Okay, now time for our bear plank again. Ready, set, go. Keep your core engaged so that you can protect that lower back. I don't want you feeling it in your back. We're halfway there. And 5 more seconds. And we're done. All right, moving on. This is very much a glute workout. We got a lot of different glute exercises here. So let's put on our booty band. And we're going to start with our glute march. All right, so we are going to lay down on our back with our feet shoulder width apart. We're going to go up into that glute bridge position. And then we are going to march with our legs. So pull your legs back like you're marching. Pull them as far. Drive that knee as far to your chest as possible. All while trying to keep that in that glute bridge position. And we are doing 10 on each side. So let's call that 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9, 10, 10. Woohoo! All right, we're moving on into a fire hydrant. Keeping that booty band on, right above the knees. So go, let's put our hands, our wrists right below our shoulders and our knees right below our hips. And we're just gonna raise up into that fire hydrant position. Take your time. Try to be very stable. There's 5, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, we're switching sides. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Woohoo! You should be feeling it on the outside of your rear and those glutes. Next, we're going to be doing a glute kickback. What that is I want the bottom of your shoe going up to the ceiling. So 1, then bring that knee down. 3, try not to open that hip up. 4, 5, what I mean by that is doing this. 8, 9, 10. Try to keep your back in that neutral position and not arch too much because I don't want you to feel it in your lower back. All right. There's 1, 3, 6, 9, 10. All right, we are moving on to a body weight lateral lunge. So we can pull off our booty bands for now. And what that is we're just going to be doing a lateral lunge. And actually, I'm going to stand back so I don't cut my head off. All righty. So lateral lunge. We're going to be sitting back and coming up, okay? So this is the leg doing the work. And we're just going to stay on one side. I'm going to go to the side so you can see what it looks like from this way. I'm sitting back like I'm in a lunge, okay? And there's 5. I want this toe pointed forward. 6, 7, 8, 9, and last one, 10. Moving to the other side now. So we're going 1, push off, 2, this is the guy doing the work. 4, let me go this way. 5, 6, 4 tight, 7, 8, 9, and last one, 10. All right. We're moving into a kickstand deadlift. So grab like a little bit heavier resistance band. We're going to wrap it twice around 1 foot. So there's 1. We want the handles even. So it might take a second to kind of get that figured out. So I'm going to have 1 foot forward, and the other one is just going to kind of be providing you a little stability. Okay, it's not going to do much, and I do not want weight on it. This is the guy doing the work. That front foot. So we're just going to go down in a hip hinge position and do a deadlift. And there's 2. Keep your core tight. I don't want you feeling this in your back. Pull that belly button back to your spine. 5, nice straight back and shoulders back. 6, 7, 8, 9, and last one, 10. Flip sides. So into 1 foot, flip it to the other one. Wrap it twice. All righty. Gonna put that foot back in a kickstand. We're just doing a hip hinge and we're feeling this in our hamstrings on that working leg. 4 tight. There's 3, 4. At the top of each one, I want you to go to bear down, okay? 6, 7, 8, 2 more, 9, and last one, 10. Woo-hoo. Okay, last exercise for this set is our step up to knee drive. So all we're doing here, and I'm gonna go back again because I'm cutting my head off. All right, you're probably not gonna see my head, okay? So we're gonna go step to knee, okay? Stay on that same leg. I want you to pause at the top. 3, drive that knee up as far as comfortable. There's 6, 7, 8, 9, and last one, 10. All right. Now I'll do it sideways, so we're going to do that other leg. So up, 1, step back, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. One set, have a drink, quick rest. And we're going to move into the second and third sets. Whew. Okie doke. So we're gonna do those booty band march. So let's grab our booty bands again. Put them right above the knee. Gonna lay down on our backs. Gonna go up into that glute bridge. Squeeze those glutes. And 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and last one, 10. All righty, now we're gonna do that fire hydrant. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Go to the other side. 1, 2, 6, 8. Woo woo! If you need to take a second and stretch those glutes a little bit, feel free. And moving on to that glute kickback. We're gonna go 1, 2, 3, heel to the ceiling. 5, 6, 7. Switching sides. 1, 9, 10. Okay. Now we're gonna go into our lunges. All right, ready? 1, 2, sit back. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, let's switch sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, last one, 10. All right, kickstand deadlift. Wrap that foot twice. Woohoo! I got a little sweat going. Okay, strap that nice and tight. Remember, we're doing the hip hinge. Kickstand, so put that little kickstand just to kind of give you a little stability. And then hinge at the hips. 1, 2, shoulders back. 3, back nice and straight. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and last one, 10. Okay, flip sides. Shoulders back, core in tight. Got your little tripod. Feel this in the hamstrings on the back of your legs. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2 more, 9, and last one. Woohoo! Okay. We're just gonna do that step up to knee drive. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and last one, 10. Flip sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and last one, 10. All right, one more set and you guys are out of here. Have a quick drink and let's do our last set. Woo-woo. There we go. All right, put on our booty bands. Okay, we're gonna do our glute march. Feet shoulder width apart. Let's go up into that glute bridge position and 1, 1, 2, 2, and 4, and 6, and 8, and last 2, 10. Flip it over. Do our fire hydrants. So we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Flip sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Woo! Stretch out those glutes if you need to. Stretch one side and the other. Go into that glute kick back. 1, 2, 5, 8, 10. Now flip sides. 1, 4, 8, 10. Okay, lateral lunges. Okie doke, let's go. 1 and up and 2, up, 3 and 4, 5, 6. There's 8, 2 more. Okay, flip sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 2 more. 9 and last one. 10. Okay, we have our kickstand deadlift. So grab that band, wrap it around that foot twice. Got your kickstand and down, shoulders back. There's 3. Six. And last one. Okay, switch sides. Wrap it around there twice. Goodness. There we go. Okay, kickstand. 1. 3. 5. 7. 9, and last one. Woo-hoo! Okie doke, last exercise and you're done. Let's do our knee drive. So step up and drive. And 2. And 3. 4. 6. 8. Switching sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. There's 8, 2 more. And last one. There you go. Good workout, everybody. I hope you're having a great week. Bye.